Hey, we're gonna let you in on a big secret, kids. It's a cheat code from your uncle, Big C. You ready? You ready,
I'm
kids?
ready.
You're
I'm
ready?
I'm ready.
When you move to a new space and you don't have sufficient lighting, use a virtual background. It kind of brightens it up a little bit.
It looks like you're coming at us from outer
Get
space.
out of space, because you know what? I don't have any of my old backgrounds. The one that had the old school podcast logo, like you got there, the old Big C, Bigger T logo,
Yeah,
before becoming the Hawg Slop. But you know what?
yeah.
Good to be back. A
Yeah.
little late, but better late than never.
Well, we there's a lot happening this week, and we wanted to come at you after the press conference today, and
Yeah.
after because look, Clint, we got a new hog.
We got it, you hoggy. You know what
What's
the
it
new
been like
hog needs
six
to do?
weeks?
Yeah. But yeah.
But the
I'm,
first thing he needs to do, you're gonna tell him right
I'm
now.
gonna tell him he needs to come on the podcast.
Yeah,
And you know what? After he comes on the podcast, he needs to give us a like.
he does.
Why not like a podcast that you're on?
Yeah,
Why not? And
yeah,
then share it with the people.
with the people.
With the people. I can't ever hardly say the people without, trying to go Bane on it. Tom Hardy is Bane.
Yeah,
With you, the people, which
yeah.
was a weird voice, but neither here nor there.
Anyway, yeah.
And then he probably wants to watch it again. And so he should subscribe, Travis. You
Yes.
should subscribe. And you know who else should do it? You, the people.
You, the people.
It's a
That's right.
terrible Tom Hardy
That's
Bane
right. Well,
impression.
we're not here for we're here for
No,
the dumb jokes every now and then.
dumb jokes. And we're also here to play you a little Sean Michelle.
That's right. So get ready.
1, 2, 3, 4. You ever seen a lame man walk? Ever heard a dumb man talk? Never seen a blind man see? I promise you a change is made. You ever seen a cancer dead? Ever seen all the poor get fed? Ever seen a prisoner set free? I promise you a change is made. My Lord changes things. My Lord changes things. Can you hear me now? Church, can you hear me now? Ever seen a broken heart made whole? Ever seen an orphan find a home? Ever seen the weak find the strength? I promise you a change is made. Ever seen the sick get healed? Ever seen a mystery revealed? Ever seen a death in red? I promise you a change is made.
That just irritates me. I'm sorry.
What's up, everybody? It's time for the Hog Slop podcast. I'm your boy, Bigger T. Joined as always by my man Big C and Clint. We got a new rule this week.
A new rule, a
We're
new
setting a
rule,
new rule right here at the beginning of this episode
and we're done with it.
because we're tired of it.
I'm tired of
We're
it
done. We're not going to mention a certain name in this
anymore.
episode
Anymore.
because we're on social media. It's still out there. The name is still out there. A
But you know what?
certain former coach, now former, that
A former coach.
former coach that likes to take people on rides with motorcycles. You know who I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Gets
That
us cussed at on Facebook.
he gets us cussed at on Facebook. That's right. And all that stuff. Look, we're not going to talk about him because we got a new coach,
We
Clint.
got a new coach, and
It's
you know what we're
official.
doing?
He's got the 35 jersey, the 35th
Yeah.
coach of Arkansas Razorbacks.
So, Mr. Ryan Silverfield, your new head coach. But
That's
Travis,
right.
we're a little late recording the podcast this week. You know, you've got a serious fan when you get a text from former Arkansas Tech University Wonder Boy All American left guard, number 74 in your program, number one right here in this heart. That is Todd Matthews. I do remember a funny Todd Matthews story, and this has nothing to do, but I just said, dude, look, there's a lot going on that we want to cover later in the week. And I was having a bear of a Tuesday. We usually record it Tuesday at 7 is when we usually record.
Yeah.
But I was having a terrible day Tuesday. And me and Travis talked about doing it after church, because Travis, pastor there, was it First Baptist Thornton?
Thornton, yeah.
There you go. Just want to give you, that's a free plug. I'm not even going to
Yeah.
charge you for that. It's free from me to you. So uh yeah, but so he texted. I said, "Look, there's a lot going on, so we're already gonna be late. We decided we might as well wait till after signing day."
Mhm.
Uh, Arkansas played Louisville last night. Not sure if y'all knew about the Shooty Hoops game, kids.
Yeah.
And then and then the press conference was like, "Well, we might as well just wait. Might as well wait." And so we're recording this on Thursday night. We're sorry for the delay, but the funny Todd Matthews story was though is I remember one time me him and Todd back in the day. I think he's 6'6". And they put 350 in the program because that's the highest the scale went.
I know how that goes.
They did. And then what? I played college ball. Usually I was 6'4", 290-ish. And then Matt Nelson was with us, and he's 6'5" and about 310. And we're all walking through Walmart, and people are just looking at us, and Todd just laughs because we're big.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite
Well,
stories.
speaking of big, one of the big stories this week, Clint, was before we get into the new coach and our response to
Right.
that, is over in the state next to us.
Yeah.
There was, I don't know if you heard about it. There was a coach over there, some guy,
Guy formed me from kid. Coach
Maine, Jane, Fane,
coached briefly in the
Kiffin.
NFL, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah. He uh caused some drama,
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
A little
And
drama, or friend, not a friend of the program because he won't come on because he's too big and good for us.
that's right.
Keith Carter
Right.
had him from beautiful Perryville, Arkansas.
Beautiful Perryville
Former
Mustang.
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 Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
and look, okay, as we talk about this Kiffin deal, we're gonna side with Ole Miss on this. I would think. I think we are. I know I am. And
Listen,
part of it is because we haven't been friends with Keith in a long time. Okay. But
right.
therefore, when he was in college, we did get to hang out with him a little bit during the summertime, a couple times, and got to know him a little bit. He
Yeah, I
worked
would
at
have
a
played with
sporting
him.
goods store with
Yeah, I went and played with him at Don Owens. Me and him played hoops together.
yeah, and I mean I hung out with him quite a bit, and he's a good guy, really good guy. Like I said, he may not even remember us. Who knows? Well, we're pretty memorable, but anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
But we're gonna side. We're gonna feel for him because we do think he's a great guy. But Clint, that was a weird situation all around. Okay.
Okay, here's where I'm going to go with Lane here. Here's where I don't blame Lane Kiffin. Because I think you can have a build-up year to like they had this year at Ole Miss, even though they thought it was probably a little bit more of a rebuilding year.
Yeah.
But I think if he wants to be mentioned with the names Saban, Carroll,
Yeah.
Meyer,
Yeah.
and who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
There's a handful of universities you can do that at.
Yeah.
A handful. And as much as I hate it for Ole Miss is not one of those schools.
Yeah.
It's just not. LSU is.
Yeah, and I don't
And
have a
so,
problem with him wanting to go. There's nothing wrong with wanting to advance in your career, and I do believe that's advancing in the career.
no,
Okay?
a lot of this falls on the timing of everything.
Yeah.
The timing of everything. I mean,
Yeah.
it just now that being said, if you're going to go coach for a rival school, no, you're not coaching my football team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
A
Especially in
hundred
the
percent.
transfer portal era.
Yeah. Now, my favorite part of the entire thing was Marty Smith. Pretty much, it reminded me of Anchorman with Paul Rudd, where he's like, "Panda watch."
Yeah.
He's like, "Come out, you panda jerk." Come out, you visor wearing jerk.
Yeah.
But did you see his story about like after it all was said and done, Lane was like, "Hey man, I can give you the interview now."
Yeah. And on
On
the
the back of his
tarmac.
show. Where you talking about he's driving through this field and the van's bottling him out and he
Yeah.
got he got to the top of the hill, and there he's seen him laughing his tail off.
Well, and isn't it funny he does that last interview on a tarmac
Yeah.
whenever he was fired on tarmac at
You
USC?
you think you think that irony was lost on Lane when he
I don't
did
know.
the interview there?
But I'll tell you one of the things, Clint, that couple of the things that came out of that, my favorite parts of the whole story that also show you, first of all, look, the way I don't feel sorry for Keith Carter and Ole Miss is don't get mad when Lane Kiffin does Lane Kiffin things.
No.
You know who you were hiring. Okay. Now he said he had this change of heart and all. Okay. He did Lane Kiffin stuff. Okay. He did Lane, put the deal out to his staff saying, all these different things, all that kind of stuff. But here was the couple of things, right? Okay. First of all, the players' reaction to him leaving. They're like, good riddance. We like Golden. We want the defensive coordinator. We're good without him. Go ahead. We're tired of the drama.
Yeah.
We're going to win this without you. Now, whether they do or not, who knows? Okay.
Can I tell you? I will tell you. I don't know the 12 teams, and I will never say this again. Go Ole Miss.
That's right. Yeah.
Win the entire thing.
Now, here's the other thing, Clint. Have you heard about Juice Kiffin?
I know Juice Kiffin. Yes.
Juice Kiffin's his dog.
Oh yeah. No, I do know about this.
Turns out the
great.
whole time it wasn't really his dog.
I know he left him in Oxford.
He left him in Oxford with his handlers who he was living with anyway. He wasn't even living with Lane. The dog was never living with Lane. He was living with the handlers. Juice is doing just fine. Juice isn't missing Lane.
Yeah.
He's just missing the Twitter.
Yeah. No.
Twitter attention he was getting. That's it. Okay. I mean, really? I mean, that was part of his. Anyway.
Lane Kiffin is always going to leave your town.
Yeah.
With with pitchforks and I mean like something like them trying to chase Shrek out the swamp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why I don't know why I got tongue tied there, but yeah, they're trying to chase Shrek out the swamp. Trav, earlier this week, it came out that Arkansas was hiring a brand new football coach.
That's right. Yep.
And I was like, all right, and me and you were like, oh man, because he's been number one on your big board the entire time. Like Alex freaking Golish.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dude, I'm like, I wish we would have thought about this because what we could have done was an instant reaction video. And you were like, man, because and then I was traveling, I was in Arkansas, you were headed to see your mom in Central Arkansas. And so we're doing there's so many moving pieces, me and you were going.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dude, I said, man, and you'd like, look, my software's on this computer that I edit with, and that's at home, and blah, blah, blah. And so listen, your boys had a bunch of excuses why we couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
But so you come up with a bright idea, and you posted a Facebook video. And then I was like, great, dude. And then I do mine.
Facebook's where you got to see it. It was also on
on TikTok.
TikTok,
I don't even know what that is. I'm
Instagram and other
I'm a grown man, so I don't TikTok.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a child.
Yeah.
You're not mature like me.
Yes, right.
I'm wearing glasses. You
That's
also
cool.
wear glasses, but you're not wearing them. Right?
I'm not wearing them right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking about taking them off. So no, I can't see. Okay, so it was insanely blurry. So yeah, and the amount of hate that me and you got.
Yeah.
I don't want to cover, that, but we had one gentleman that said we lost our one viewer.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I responded like, we have 5 viewers.
Yeah.
I know Todd and Gabe. Your mom, that's 3 right there, buddy.
That's right, yeah. No, and the deal was, Clint, well, of course, a lot of that was over arguments about the coach that we will not name.
Right.
However, my first response was, and I was honest on there, my first response was not Not that excited. I'll be honest with you, because I had read about, I'm a member on Hog Sports and
Right. Yeah.
Trey Biddy's site, and I'd gone, he's got his big board of all the coaches, right? And I'd read that the whole time, I'd kept up with it and appreciate the work he puts in and getting information about these coaches. And
100%.
then on the ones that I thought were possibilities in order to get our list that we did every week, I did a little more deeper dive into them. Okay. So that's why I'd done a little deeper dive into Golish. I'd done a deeper dive into Morris and PJ Fleck and some of the others that were on my big board as we went through. Okay. And Silverfield was one of the ones that I'd done a deep dive on earlier. Okay. And I didn't do a deep enough dive. I'll be honest with you. Okay. Because my thoughts with him was, he came in after Norville.
Same. It's
And
100%.
Norville already had things going. Fuentes had things going before Norville.
Yeah, yeah. Justin Fuentes had it going good.
Yeah.
And he went to Virginia Tech.
And to me, I thought Silverfield was a good coach. Okay. I mean, I didn't think he was going to be a bad hire necessarily, but I thought he would be like, to me, I wanted somebody that was a little bit of a gamble. Okay. I wanted somebody that had a ceiling that was a little unknown. And to me, Silverfield's ceiling was a little known when my first response to him. Okay. I thought he was a guy that was going to come in and be like a Houston Nutt. And I like Houston Nutt. Okay. And Houston Nutt, in fact, we would give a lot to have Houston Nutt era again. Okay. The winning that he did and things like that. But Houston Nutt was the kind of coach that got us to a certain level, but never really was going to get us to that championship level. Right. And that's the way I kind of saw Silverfield was, I don't know if he's the guy that can get you to the playoffs. I'll just put it that way. I think he's a guy that can get you close to the playoffs, but in the SEC, I think he's a guy that I would worry about getting you consistently past that.
Well,
That was my first. That was my
because
first.
anymore you don't have to be number one. You just got to be number 11.
Yeah.
Because you save the 12s.
Yeah. And I thought he would be a guy that would keep that could get us up in the top 20, but maybe not get us in the top 10 on a like maybe he might 1 year or something like that do that, like a Houston Nutt did, right? What was your initial response to seeing Silverfield?
And disappointment. Well, and part of the reason is a lot of things you just touched on. I felt like he built on what Norval already has, and that was kind of mine. It's just like, oh, you're just hiring the guy that beat you. I mean, you hire the guy that beat you. Memphis is always pretty good, but I just felt like he was winning with somebody else's program.
Yeah.
That was my perception. I didn't do I looked at Wikipedia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
His coaching search. And then I think I think that was the overall sentiment was that 100-year check failed.
Yeah.
That was the sentiment. Like you're coming in to work. You're coming in to work. You swung and missed. Like you went because you hear names like Franklin, like, oh my goodness, when you're thinking James Franklin, what he did at Vanderbilt, had a team in the playoffs last year. You think you're gonna get that, and then you're like, oh, you're not getting him. Well, Golish is an up and comer offensive mind. You think you're getting him. John Gruden. You hear all these big names. Okay, you're going to get Fitz. You're going to get the former Northwestern coach, and maybe you're going to get PJ Fleck down.
Yeah.
Then you're like, okay, you're going to get Ryan Silverfield from Memphis, and so it's just like, what? It's just like you see his first, his intro, like, hey, like a mute. You just didn't want to hear it. You're like, okay, this is disappointed. This is your check. Just did all this, and this is who we settled with. It felt like the cheap hire.
Yeah.
It felt like that you.
Well, and I agree with you. And that was one of the things of my frustration. Now, as I got to know it a little bit, as I started thinking about it and putting the pieces together since then, okay, in the press conference today, Juracek said he had worked it down. They had 8 or 9. and then it worked down to 2. And then he ended up with Silverfield. I think the 2 was Golish and Silverfield, and Auburn was a better job. They got Golish. I hate to say that. Auburn's a better job than Arkansas. It's the truth. That's the way it is. Okay. Golish picked what he thought was the better job over. The good thing about it for us is, and I have a list of things that I've liked since then of my research I've done on Silverfield and things I've learned about him since then. And I'd like to get your response to these things. Okay. And kind of see what you think. The first thing is, I believe Silverfield wanted this job.
110%, Travis. 110%. I'm going to tell you, the best coach. I mean, people like to talk about he that shall not be named, but the best coach of mine and Travis's lifetime at the University of Arkansas, the best hood football coach. That me and him probably, well, Kent Hatfield. But outside Kent Hatfield,
Yeah.
I would say would be Houston Delnut.
Yeah.
He brought a life and energy to the program. Houston Nutt's problem was, and the reason why Houston Nutt had a ceiling, because Houston Nutt would not evolve on offense.
Yeah.
He would not.
Yeah.
And he would not. And that was, and you can talk about the Mitch Mustang, Gus's Malzahn situation, where the problem was you had 3 adults that none of them would act like an adult.
Yeah.
That was part of the problem.
And I would say that, and not just on offense, okay, Clint. I remember when Houston was coach, going to pregame and watching the pregame warm-ups. And they were doing the same drills that you and I did at Greenbrier High School.
Yeah.
Some of the same warm-up stuff. You know what I mean? Like some of the same, like form tackling stuff and things like that. And then when I saw new coaches come in, because I'm a football nerd and I like going and watching all the pregame stuff, and I like watching the players that don't get on the field out there doing the pregame stuff. I saw other people, other coaches doing stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. They're doing newer stuff. Okay. So I think you're exactly right. He didn't evolve, not just offensively. I think he didn't evolve. He was just a little too old school.
Yep. And I just think his unwillingness to evolve. And that's what, here's the thing. When you have something that's keeping you from reaching your potential, you either let that obstacle become permanent or you remove that obstacle. And for whatever reason, just in my opinion, Houston didn't do that.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, 8-4, 7-5, that was where Houston was going to get you. He was never going to, he just wasn't going to quite get you that 11-1, 10-2, possible BCS belt. But anyway, I'm going to keep talking, hit you next point.
Here's the second thing. Looking at his resume and hearing people talk about him, this dude is a grinder. Okay. And here's a couple of examples. He started coaching at 18 years old in college. He hurt his neck, wasn't able to play football anymore, and said, okay, coach, I want to be a student assistant. And he started coaching there. Okay. So he's been coaching. He's only 45 years old, but he's got the experience that most people don't have. Okay.
No.
Then after he did some of that, he did some high school stuff. He went to the NFL, and he's got NFL experience, and then came back to Memphis. Okay. That's impressive that he's that type of guy. Now, another example of him being a grinder and the type of person he is. Okay. I don't know if you heard in the press conference him talking about it. Apparently, when he got to the football facilities at Arkansas, he didn't like that the light bulbs weren't bright enough. So he told them, we need some new light bulbs in here. And they're like, right now? He said, yes, right now. He said, it's too dim. So he was in the middle of the night. His wife's calling to check on him. He's up on a ladder changing light bulbs out.
Yeah.
In the football facility at the University of Arkansas. He's already doing things like that. Okay.
Well, you think of your great leaders, your regional managers and stuff like that I've dealt with, I consider to be great mentors of mine. I'm thinking of several examples off the top of my head, but they see an employee needing something done and there's a customer needing something done. What they do is they jump in.
Yeah.
And that's what a great leader does. That light bulbs need to change. She's like,
Yeah.
all right, again, I'm getting on, get the letter.
And part
You
of it,
get
he
that.
just wanted it to be brighter. He
Yeah.
just he's just too damn here. I love that stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Now here's the other thing. I don't, if you have a chance, get on YouTube. There's been a couple interviews done with Bray Cook, former Arkansas Razorback offensive lineman, who's actually, whenever Silverfield came to Memphis, he was a grad assistant at Memphis. In fact, him and Silverfield were roommates together for a while,
Yeah.
like a couple months or something. And he talked a lot about how good of a hire this was and about how good of a coach Silverfield is. But one of the things he talked about was Silverfield, when he first got there as offensive line coach at Memphis, that one of his duties was connecting and doing things with the boosters and in fundraising. Okay. And he told a great story. Bray Cook tells a great story about him, like getting a couple Greyhound buses and loading a bunch of these millionaire boosters on it and taking them to some event or something and doing this or whatever. And he talked about how cool of a deal that was. But anyway, and then come to find out, Memphis has some of the best facilities in their conference in Memphis, Tennessee. Okay. No, you've been to Memphis.
Yeah.
The town's not known
Scary.
for any kind of good facilities besides their
Scary.
barbecue. Okay.
And Graceland.
And Graceland. That's right.
And
That's
we've
the only
been to
facilities.
Graceland.
That's the only in the Bass Pro Shop that's in the old
Yeah.
pyramid.
In
Okay.
the pyramid.
And they couldn't
Jumbo
even keep
proposed to his wife there.
Here you go. See? So, but here's the deal. Bray Cook said he's the one who raised most of those funds to get all that stuff.
No,
Okay?
and I think the proof is already there. He was in a box with a booster,
Yep.
and I don't even know if he asked for it, but he left, and the booster's like, I'm going to make a 7-figure donation to the football program.
And he didn't find that out until today
At the press conference.
at the press conference. Hunter tells him about it. Apparently, him and Hunter hadn't been talking a whole lot. So that's impressive to me, man. That's huge. Here's the other thing, and here's the last one I'll bring up. But these are my top things that like are selling me on Silverfield as the coach. Is when they asked him about his offensive philosophy. Okay, and rumor has it he's bringing his offensive coordinator from Memphis, a guy that really his resume is not super impressive. Okay. I mean, he's good. I mean, he's had good stats at Memphis. He's moved up gradually. Mm-hmm. This will be the biggest job he's had. The offensive coordinator, if that's who brings him, he brings. But anyway, he asked him about his offensive philosophy. And he said, look, he said, I have certain things we like to do. He said, we're not going to be a tempo team, more than likely. He said, but we will huddle sometimes. We won't huddle sometimes. You know, he said that's kind of up in there. He said, however, we're going to fit to what the ability of our players, the talent that we have, because it's about the players. He said, we have certain things we're going to do within a scheme, but that's going to be determined by who's at quarterback, who's at receiver, who's at running back. He said, if we got a bunch of big offensive linemen, we're going to run a certain style of blocking scheme. If we got smaller offensive linemen, and that's who we have at that time, then we're going to run a different kind of blocking scheme. Clint, that's exactly what a coach should be doing, especially with the transfer portal days.
Yeah. Travis, I don't know. You've got to protect what's yours. You got to keep the guys in. Mm-hmm. And I think hopefully one of the good things about being a 2-9 football team is not a lot of people can come after your players. But you never know. But he's got what a base does he have to build off of? Because I'm just going to throw this out there. On the offensive line, you've got Shaq, Kittler, Harris, and Branham all possibly coming back.
Plus, you got the two freshmen that played a lot toward the end of the season, Cash Courtney and what's the other guy? Anyway,
I know.
Offensive line, you got you got 8 or 9 guys that could be coming back. That I
Yeah.
mean, if he can talk them into staying,
And Silverfield's an offensive line guy.
yeah.
He coached offensive line. Um, then possibly Jordan Platt,
Mm.
possibly. And then, of course, CJ Brown announced that he's coming back today.
Did he announce it?
That I read it somewhere,
Well,
apparently.
he was at the press conference with KJ and
Yeah,
and Rhodes, but he didn't announce it, I don't
yeah,
think.
okay,
But a lot of people think he is coming back.
yeah. KJ Jackson's coming back, and they didn't talk about Jordan Anthony and some of the other younger guys. Hopefully Crutchfield comes back. So you've got defense is another ball of wax.
Yeah.
Um, and it doesn't scare me that the offensive coordinator is not that well known because Jason Kelsey has a phrase that he used, and that's "hungry dogs run faster."
Yeah.
And you know what? You're going to make it a long way just outworking people.
Well, and like, and even, but even like, even and I say that about, I'm not dogging the guy about that. I'm just saying if you're going to find anything negative about him, that's what you're going to find. However, like their quarterback this last year had good stats. He had only 7 interceptions, which I mean, it isn't wonderful, but it isn't bad either. I mean, uh,
Yeah.
he, they, and he talked about that a lot today about, he preaches taking care of the ball. They asked him, they said, well, how do you do that? He said, you do it every day in practice. He said, you do it all the time. He said, when you see somebody not doing it, you address it right then, whether it's in practice or wherever. But, but yeah, and then you got the freshmen, the guys, he flipped those Arkansas guys. Okay. Now, some people are upset, Clint. We got people already upset that he didn't flip Kane Archer. Rumor has it that he never really came back and offered Kane Archer. Okay.
Well,
But there's a lot of people that didn't offer Kane Archer.
yeah. Listen, I ain't gonna say a bad word about Kane Archer. Kane Archer has been a good quarterback at Greenwood.
Oh yeah.
Are they still in it? They're probably winning the state championship, I
Yeah.
assume.
Yeah.
Um, but here's the thing. One of the things I absolutely love about the Silverfield hire, he seems to get the state of Arkansas.
Yeah.
He seems to understand the area, and because he recruited this area, if you can mix getting the good kids of Arkansas and keeping them and working the portal,
Yeah.
if you can do that, he knows how to recruit Arkansas. He just proved it.
Yeah.
He has watched all the film. He is. I guarantee you, he looked at Kane Archer when he was at Memphis.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He has studied Kane Archer. He knew Kane wasn't what he wanted. I mean, listen, it's a little bit more fun when the Arkansas's got an Arkansas quarterback. I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
It was fun when we had Brandon Allen. It was even though we were really mean to him for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brandon Allen, who's going to get an NFL pension
Yeah. That's right.
because he'll never have to work a day in his life because the NFL is just going to pay for his retirement. And he paid for it by just hanging out. Kind of
Yeah.
like how I got in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Anyway, so but it's a little bit more fun. But if he doesn't fit what he does or what he wants to do, if he
Yeah.
doesn't think, and obviously getting KJ Jackson to come back is
That's
huge.
huge. Yeah.
That is
That's
huge.
big. And especially, well, and then also getting the guys he did flip. Okay. 2 of them are big defensive linemen.
Right. And they were committed to like Miami and Oklahoma.
Oklahoma State. Yeah.
Okay, it may have been we had one that we flipped that was going to Oklahoma. I don't,
Yeah. He was the linebacker from
okay.
Bryant. And then the running back from Bryant was to Missouri.
But you see that, I mean, that's 4 major schools that we flipped from.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Oh yeah.
like,
Well, and the kid Bill, even though he was just going to Oklahoma State, you can complain about that. He was the number 1 recruit in the state. Okay, so he was the highest rated of the guys, but he liked Oklahoma State for some reason. Okay, and so that's where he was committed to. So that's the probably worst of those schools that they were committed to, and that's the number 1 guy. Okay, Now, the concern with him is he's got the huge body, but he plays it like I forget what school it is. He's from Cherry Valley, Arkansas. Okay, so he's like he plays at a small school, so they're worried about the only concern with him is who he's going against every week. But he's got the body, the size that they
With
think they
these
can
kids, it
turn into
ain't.
something.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're Anthony Jordan, who's just not going to go to a camp.
Yeah,
Most of these kids especially when you're getting offers like that.
yeah,
Most of these kids go to camps and all that, so I mean, they get a pretty
yeah,
good, they get a pretty good idea on what they have and what they're going to do.
yeah.
So
Yeah, so it's and then, he was asked in the press conference about coaches he would bring in, and of course he's not talking about any of that yet. One of the rumors out there is that one of the guys and one of the people that's really saying this, I'll give credit, is DJ Williams. Is he's kind of thinking that Alfred Davis, the former Razorback defensive tackle, may be one of the like coaches that may be involved. And here's one of the reasons DJ's saying that. Alfred Davis, if you don't know, was one of the guys that after Pittman was fired, and then after the defensive guys were fired, that was talked about being brought in to take over for Deke Adams, because apparently I don't think he's coaching this year. He was at Missouri, and he was the guy at Missouri that was coming into Arkansas and recruiting all these Arkansas kids.
yeah,
Okay. And so and I don't know what happened at Missouri. I don't know why he's not coaching right now, but apparently he's a really good recruiter,
yeah.
especially for these Arkansas kids. And so there's a lot of thought about him that may be a possibility of why those guys switched.
Yeah. Well, and that's a very big possibility, especially with those guys slipping. He might already be on staff and we just not know it.
And he may not be the defensive line coach. He may be, doing something else. But
Yeah.
but
So
that
Trav, I mean, you're on the sites. Is there any, and maybe you prefer to tell me off air, are there any rumors about, defensive coordinator possibilities? Any smoke
no,
out there?
I haven't seen anything on that yet.
Is that's because I mean, here's the thing. I named the pieces on offense that he has to build around.
Yeah.
On defense, he has Quincy Rhodes. And you got to wonder who else they have. There's a lot of those
Well,
guys.
you got those linebackers you want to keep.
Yeah.
But when it comes to D backs, the cupboard's pretty bare there. Now, we got, the kid from Conway, supposed to be a pretty good defensive back. You got the kid, and then a couple other high school kids I think we got at least one other really supposed to be a good defensive back that was in recruiting, but that's where the portal is going to be necessary
No,
for that.
I really think if you can keep what you have on offense, just keep it. I mean, the offense was fine. I think part of the reason is because there was a lot more talent on offense.
Yeah.
Um, and Pittman came out early and said, "Look, listen. I'm not going in the portal. KJ's the guy."
Yeah.
And so and then he didn't quite have the game against Missouri that KJ Jefferson did whenever he got his surprise start when Felipe was hurt. But
Well, I think part of that was the bad coaching decision by the coach that should not be named to rotate them. I thought that was dumb. You don't let your quarterback get when it seemed like about the time KJ was starting to get in a rhythm, he rotated him out. So
yeah,
I don't think he had a fair chance, to be honest with you.
no,
But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think KJ, if you can keep Grayson Wilson on up there, that would be great too. Because I think he may have he's supposed to be a pretty talented guy too. Redshirted this year, has a good chance. And then of course they'll bring in some. They'll probably they'll probably bring in a transfer from somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as a matter of fact, they had a backup at Memphis. Their backup quarterback hit the portal today.
Yeah.
So you never know. We may be looking at them as a depth piece.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm having problems talking today, man.
And thing is, I think last year at Memphis that if I heard this number right, maybe I hope I may have heard this wrong, but did he replace like 70 players
Yeah, I think
just last year? I mean, it was
well,
some crazy number. And they still look, and I know they ended the season. They didn't end the season well. That's one of the knocks on him. But to still have a winning season after you've replaced 70 players,
yeah.
it's not too bad. Okay.
Well,
Beat
yeah,
Arkansas.
no. So the big deal is I mean, what's going to determine his success or failure is getting the right defensive mind hired
Yeah.
and and stocking that and fixing the defense.
Yeah.
Having to go out. You're gonna have to build that. Listen, you got Quincy Rhodes and you may have a couple other guys, a couple linebackers, but you really gonna have to. You did a good job in high school, but listen, let's just be honest. In the SEC, it is really hard for a high school kid to come in and play right away on the defensive
Yeah.
line. It
Well,
is.
and one of the reasons, and I don't know if you saw, but afterwards Quincy Rhodes was interviewed uh after the press conference, and he said that one of the reasons he was excited to have Silverfield was one of the first ones to offer him when he was in 11th grade. And he said he spent a lot of time in Memphis because he was thinking about going there until Arkansas came in and offered.
Yeah.
And so, he had enough respect for him in that time. And that's something else. Okay. There was a kid down in Camden that was the number one of the top recruits in the state of Arkansas, Stacy Wilkins, who ended up going to Oklahoma. Stacy put out on social media after Silverfield was hired. He said if Oklahoma hadn't offered me, he said Silverfield was the best coach that recruited me of all the coaches. He said, but he said, and I've stayed in contact with him since. He said if he was at Arkansas, he said I would have went to Arkansas. He said if he would have been pretty much saying if he would have been at a better school than Memphis, he would have gone with him. So that says a lot when kids are saying
Well,
stuff
and
like that.
our boy Reed Bauer spoke very highly of him.
Yeah.
Reed,
Yep.
who transferred
To Memphis.
Memphis, and part of the reason I think, I hate, God, I don't want to, because I love Sam Pittman. I do. I
Yeah.
love Sam Pittman. But it seemed like Reed was the better punter, and they were just insistent on playing the other guy.
Yeah. And they and Reed said in his tweet, he said, as a guy who's been in both locker rooms, he said, I think Silverfield will be a great do great at Arkansas. So now here's another thing that came out of the press conference that has some people kind of livied up on social media, and so I wanted to address it. And that was, and look, I'm not as down on Hunter Yurachek as I was, but I'm still not a big fan. I think he shouldn't have taken the job he's taken with the college football playoff deal.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in a situation where you're looking for a coach. He definitely shouldn't have stepped up to lead it. I think that was I think that's bad. When he's paid by the University of Arkansas, he's not paid by the college football playoff.
Right.
Okay. And I think that's just bad leadership, to be honest with you. However, he's gotten a lot of flack for things he said. Some of it's he's too honest, whatever. But today he talked about fundraising, and he talked about how that he wouldn't give numbers. He didn't want to give numbers, but he said that we've moved up to the top half of the SEC. And that's got people kind of upset because they're like, well, wait a second, why top half? We should be number one. Okay, people, think about what
Listen,
you're saying here. Okay.
I'm going to tell you.
We were at best 14th. At best. You don't go from 14th to best overnight. It doesn't happen. In
No,
fact, the jump from 14 to sixth or seventh or something like that is a pretty big jump.
I'm gonna name some schools, Travis. I live in South Texas, and I don't know if you know this. They have oil money down here.
Yeah, they do. They got lots of it.
So you don't have more money than you're not going to have more money than Texas.
No,
You're not going to have more money than A&M.
no,
You're not going to have more money than LSU. You're not going to have more money than Alabama.
no.
You're not going to have more money than Florida or Georgia. That's six right there.
And then you haven't even mentioned Ole Miss, Auburn.
And by the way, Vanderbilt's got stupid, crazy money.
Yeah. And here's the deal. He's saying if it's true, and if we moved up to the top half in the money we're spending, that's off a 2-10 season and a year firing a coach. Those other teams that have all that money, the reason they have that money is because they're winning games. For any chance for us to move up higher, is we got to win games, right? Because when you win games, that's one of the reasons we were 14th, 15th, wherever we were at, is because we wasn't winning games and no one believed in our coach. Okay. The money people didn't believe that our coach was going to do it. So they didn't want to put the money into it. Right. They didn't believe in the decisions he was making. They just didn't believe in him. But if they get behind, I mean, look at what's happening with basketball. You get a coach they believe in, money's going to show up. Okay.
All right, Trav, I want to ask you this. When the news first broke, when I sent you the screenshot, because I want to believe that I'm how you found out. I'm probably not, but I'm going to believe it. Just lie to me if I wasn't.
Okay.
So thank you. So when I broke the news to you because you had no idea, what was your grade of the hire on Sunday?
On Sunday, I would have probably said C.
I would have given it a C minus. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, now today things have calmed down. You've seen him work. You've heard the man speak.
Yeah.
You've seen how the players react to him. You've seen player reaction and all that. Where are you at now?
I'm probably B plus.
I'd go A minus. I'd go A minus.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm still I mean, I still, want to see, the thing is he's saying all the right things. And so far he's put some, with the that story about that booster with the changing some recruits' minds, the Quincy Rhodes, KJ Jackson. He's done a lot in a few days. Okay. That's a lot. So I do feel like there has been a lot. It could go to an A pretty quick for me. Okay. But I still have some hesitancy just because, uh, you know, because I had other people definitely higher. And I think if I would have known more about him, he would have been higher on my list. He had at least been in my, well, like I'm looking right now, my sheet of paper where I wrote down my list. The last list we had, I had Golish 1, Morris 2, Fleck 3, and then I had 3 after him, right? And I had Fitzgerald, Womack, and I can't read my writing on the other one. Anyway,
Yeah.
like I was actually thinking that, like if you would have asked me the day they hired him, I would have argued that maybe giving Kane Womack a shot would have been just as good of a hire. And I wouldn't say that now.
I go back to the saying that Frank Broyles said about Houston Nutt. He goes, I don't know if if Bear Bryant could have came in and had a better interview.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling just after watching Silverfield do that, he reminds me so much of Houston Nutt.
Yeah.
If he adapts, if he adapts,
Yeah.
I think he will do great things here.
Yeah.
But that because I really do, I think that's what made Houston Nutt be good, not great, was that he did not adapt. Hold on real quick. I just got offered the Penn State job. How does a school like Penn State bungle their head coach? Look, we can say what you Hunter Yurchek, oh, you bungled this, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. You did better
At
than Penn
least we're
State,
not Penn
buddy.
State.
Yeah,
That's right. And the thing
dude,
is, you could argue that Penn State is the second best job.
it was no worse than three. I don't think. I mean, you could say Florida, LSU, and Penn State's three.
Yeah. I mean, it's the number one job if you don't want the pressure of the SEC,
Yes,
and all of a sudden, and you look at the list they've gone through. I mean, they started off with Urban Meyer and all these different people, and then now who knows who they're going to get. Like if I was them, I'd hire John Gruden.
it would
At
be the
least make a
Gruder.
splash hire, at
It'd be
least something.
Yeah, it'd probably be Dable if I was making the hire. I'd go to Brian Dable.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean that's the thing, but and that's some people are thinking that would be a good hire probably for him. You
but what are
think,
you waiting? What are you waiting for? He's not working now. The Giants would probably appreciate you taking part of his salary.
yeah. Well,
What
what
was it?
about no, not Dable. The other one I was thinking, the rumor is that they're trying to get Alabama's head coach, that they're waiting until after the SEC championship game to try to get him.
I don't know why would you would leave Alabama to go to that mess, other than the fact that everybody hates you at Alabama because you're not Nick Saban.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. They keep barking up these trees. The people, and the rumor today was Matt Campbell, I think. Uh that was the other one. But which I don't understand why Matt Campbell's staying at Iowa State. Rumor has it they're bankrupt, that they're broke. Uh, so I don't know. Now here's the thing. I wanted to bring up to Clint. We need to get behind Silverfield
100%.
as a fan base because here we need Arkansas to do well.
Yeah, life is so much more fun when Arkansas is good at football.
Well, not just that, Clint.
Yeah,
Not just that. By 2030, word is that's when the super conference is going to happen. Okay. And what's being talked about is that's going to be 60 teams in that super conference. It's going to be the 60 best teams. Okay. And then they're going to do it kind of like they do. And, I guess they do soccer in other places and stuff like that. Okay. 60 best
I
teams.
wouldn't know.
And it's going to be, you got to be one of those 60 best. It's not going to be all the SEC makes it to that. They're going to pick the best teams out of each conference to be in that. That's what the word is, right? And that's what the concern is. Right now, Arkansas will not be one of 60. Right now, if they were putting together that conference, Arkansas would not be. We would be playing in whatever second tier division that there would be. Okay. We don't improve. Okay. We could find ourselves in 2030 with some big changes in college football because that's what all this is pushing to. That's what all of this is pushing to, is to something like that. And we've been talking about it on this podcast for a long time about these super conferences that were going to happen and all these different things. And now the talk about that is going to be more limited than what we were even talking about it. And we need Arkansas to be well.
We do.
Okay.
Now, Trav, we've taken up most of the podcast on
Yeah.
for obvious reasons,
Yeah.
Razorback football. But they play another sport up on the hill,
They do.
more than one. Yeah,
Hmm.
they play shooty hoops, and we have a coach. You might have heard of him,
Yeah.
Calipaya player.
Yeah.
Um, that's what. But I had a friend that he called him Calipaya player
Yeah.
back when he was at Kentucky. Now I
Yeah.
love him. I don't. He never cheated a day in his life. I'll tell you.
No, no.
Never, never, ever paid one player under the table.
Yeah.
No, uh, but no. So Arkansas hosted Louisville.
Yep.
Number 16, Mickle Brown Jr. Is it Michael or Mickle? Mickle.
I don't know. I didn't
Anyway,
hear.
but anyway, Dad, former NBA player, and well, and we played so many of these other. This is like the third major team we've played.
Yeah.
Played at Michigan State. We played Duke, who's probably the best team in the country.
Yeah.
Um, Played them on a neutral court, and so and then we finally get one of these guys at home. We get Louisville at Bud Walton in the ACC SEC Challenge,
Yep.
and we came out on top. Trayvon Brazil had a heck of a game.
Yep.
He showed up, and Kendrick Perkins, Big Perk, he said that Darius Acuff is a top 5 pick, and he'll see him at the draft.
Yeah.
Um, so,
Yeah. Acuff
what
played well. You know, they all did. I mean, it was a great game. Played good defensively, rebounded well. Starting to put it together. Some of the things, the weaknesses we saw against Michigan State, the offense flowed better even toward the end of the game when they were pressing. They did a better job of moving the ball. Those freshman guards didn't press as much as far as offensively. They didn't. They let it. They worked within the offense. They didn't try to just play hero ball. Um, Louisville made a run toward the end. They tried to come back. We had a big lead at half, and then Louisville tried to come back, and like good teams do. And it was a good win. Sellout
no,
crowd.
yeah,
New coach was there handing out slim chickens to the students
I do love me some Slim Chickens.
and yelling in the faces of the. He said at the press conference he wanted to put on some of those overalls, those striped overalls, but
Yeah.
said one of his staff told him he better not.
No, that would be great.
Yeah. Yeah. So somebody said, I saw someone said, how long before we see him take his shirt off? Like muscling.
That's great. That's
But
awesome.
no, but yeah, Cal's, look, this is what I expected. Cal's going to get this team rolling, folks. There's a lot of talent on this team. And
It was kind of like last year when we were struggling going into SEC play. I knew like y'all need to get your licks in.
yeah,
Get your licks in on Cal now because he ain't gonna stay down.
yeah,
He ain't gonna stay down. And no, this team's they're ranked number 25. They're not the 25th best team in the country.
no,
They're just not.
no, and they'll move on up.
Those were two Sweet 16 teams on the floor last night.
Yeah,
That may even been round to 8.
yeah,
I venture to say even Final Four contenders. I don't think either one of them is on the level of Duke right now.
yeah,
But I mean, you can see them guys making a late run in March, maybe even to early April. Both those teams, and this isn't going to be the last one of these we play, Travis. I know we got Houston coming up.
yeah,
Listen, it grinds my gears. I'm 2 hours from Houston. I'm like, man, if they go play at Houston, I'll go watch the game.
yeah.
And then I get there, I'm like, oh, they're playing in New Jersey. What about Arkansas and Houston makes sense play? I mean, I get it while you're doing it.
Yeah,
But what sense does that make? At least play the game in Dallas or something.
yeah,
Like playing at American Airlines. Like that would make more sense.
yeah. Did you see where Cal got on the mic and got on to the fans for saying overrated?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
he got on the mic because the fans were chanting overrated,
right.
and he got on there and said, "Hey, let's not do that. Let's not do that cheer." And in the press conference, he was very, like thankful for the fans, and said, how great it was and everything. But yeah, he had to get on to him a little bit because that's just Arkansas. I mean, don't do that chant for especially this early in the season because, I mean, what if how would we felt if Duke or Michigan State would have done that to us?
I figured they would.
Yeah, that's true.
But,
Well,
no,
Clint,
but I get it. And Coach Cal wanted to keep it classy and show respect to him, and but that's what Coach Cal is, who Coach Cal is.
yeah.
So.
Well, Clint, we got a new coach. Basketball team's rolling. Pretty soon we'll be talking baseball.
The Omaha Hogs will be coming to save us.
But football will still be having off-season stuff. We achieved our goal. We did this podcast without mentioning the name of a coach.
That name is dead on this podcast.
That's right.
No longer it is.
So
it is gone. We're not going to say it. Guys, I hope y'all like the pop-up Facebook videos. We're going to try to do more of those.
Yep.
Get a little bit more social media interaction, and Travis does all that because I don't TikTok. But I can run my mouth.
Yeah. So folks, definitely continue to like, share, subscribe. If you see us, the videos, follow us on social media. If you see those videos, share those, like those, comment, getting the arguments with us. Some of those go out to people that don't necessarily know who we are, but they just end up catching them because they go on their in their analytics or whatever, and we get to
they decide to curse at us.
That's right. Get over yourself. Anyway.
Curse at the poor reverend. Stop it.
That's right. Well, folks, have a great rest of your week.
Blue Pig, everybody.
Go Hogs. Go Coach Silverfield.
Go Tech. Go Tech, go. Win the Corsicana Bowl. Wonderful.
Corsicana.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change. These prayers breaking up hard ground so I can sow the seed. Ain't afraid of no aches and pain. Lord knows I gotta follow his lead. That's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Oh, I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Sun beating down so hard, I can barely breathe. Hard to sing a joyful song, the words got me on my knees. Then the gentle breeze blows by, pick me up right on time. Listen, now I know the Lord